Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azabi here, back again with House of the Dragon Season 1. We're on episode 6, and in the last episode, shit really hit the fan. It was definitely the best episode by far. And I think the reason for that is because going forward, like what happened in that episode has almost feels like it is the start of something that we know about, like Game of Thrones, about, you know, these different houses and whatnot being like at each other's throats, like clear enemies. I feel that is the way that it's going. I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like the way that it ended has set something in motion that, I mean, especially because considering the facts that Viserys has collapsed, you know, so I don't know how long left he's actually got. And because of the things that were almost set up in the fact that, you know, like Alicent and whatnot, with Otto leaving, Otto putting it into Alicent's head that, like, you know, the realm isn't going to accept Rhaenyra on the throne, and therefore it's going to be a sort of like a versus between Rhaenyra and like Alicent's kids, like Aegon and whatnot. So, you know, I just feel like with everything that happened last episode, it just feels like that the tension could rise beyond a point that we have yet to see in this show. There's a few like niggles and stuff like beforehand, you know, the main one being like Viserys and Daemon and whatnot and their relationship, but it never really escalated to a point of, like, you know what I mean, like to what it can get to, you know, like you essentially banished them, but I mean, you know, Daemon being Daemon just ruled back in. You know what I mean? So there's some weird things going on, like Daemon and Laena, for example. Of course, you know, the big one was Kristen caving Joffrey's head in. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on, man. And this is the thing, is because Viserys carried on Jaehaerys' sort of reign in this sort of like peaceful time, can only last for so long, you know. And I almost feel like as soon as Viserys is gone, like that sort of veil is going to be lifted, and then chaos can like really ensue. But who knows? We'll see. But I don't know what comes next. So for all I know, I could be completely in the wrong. But, you know, I just feel like the likes of Laenor Velaryon isn't going to be happy with what happened, you know. And because it came from, you know, Kristen, who is Rhaenyra's sworn protector, and the fact that, you know, these two are supposed to be married together, there's going to be tension between those two as well, you know, so we'll see. I mean, Alicent at the end stopped Kristen from essentially committing seppuku, and so I don't know if there's going to be a thing that, you know, Alicent sort of brings Kristen on her side, and like sort of he becomes her sworn protector now. I don't know, we'll see, but nothing else to really talk about, so you're going to get in episode 6. So as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. A link to the full-length reactions in the description below as well, so if you do want to watch my full-length reaction to the show and not just the cut 15-minute version or whatever it is, then the offer's there for you. And there's also the link to the early access reaction for the next episode, so if you don't want to wait a week for my reaction to that episode, then the offer is down there for you as well. But yep, nothing else to really talk about, so you're going to get in episode 6, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
And push!
If this is Rhaenyra, then we're going forward in time here. The hell was that noise, dude? Sounded like a little friggin', like a little dragon squeal. I know they have like they said that they have the egg in like nearby, right? But I don't think they hatch at the same time, do they? I don't even know how you could walk after that. I just feel like your legs would would buckle.
Was it terribly painful?
Really? It's kind of a questions that. Relations don't seem on good terms between Rhaenyra and the Queen. Hold on. So if she's the Queen still, then Viserys is still alive?
Rhaenyra, you should be resting after your labours.
What happy news this morning.
He's still alive! He's looking much older, yeah.
He'll be called Joffrey.
It's an unusual name for a Valerian.
Okay. Does he still have a left? I didn't.
Called the midwife a cunt.
Jesus, I wonder if they've like literally gotten rid of his arm. Yeah, they don't have silver hair.
Lena and I thank you, Commander.
So Harwin wishes to be introduced.
They're his. So Leonor seems to be taking the whole thing that happened in the last episode fairly well, but I don't know how long it's been, so... Jesus. Is that his dragon then? Oh dear, well this goat isn't long for this world, is it?
Dracarys Vermax.
You're the only one of us without a dragon.
Indeed.
And we felt badly about it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Behold, the pink dread.
The pink dread. I didn't get the kid's name either. The one with Varmax. Hell are you doing? Jesus.
Your obsession with those beasts goes beyond understanding.
They gave me a pig.
Obsession.
The what?
They said they found a dragon for me.
The last ring has no legs at all.
To have one child like that is a mistake. To have 3 is an insult. To the throne, to you.
Nature is a thing of mysterious works.
Just refuses to believe it.
Consequences of an allegation like the one you toyed would be dire.
Or did once, but has convinced himself otherwise. He'll do naught but make excuses for her.
The Princess Rhaenyra is brazen and relentless. Spoiled cunt.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. He harbors a lot of hatred for her now.
Here is it.
Oh my god.
Pig.
That's ridiculous.
Your plot. If Rhaenyra comes into power, your very life could be forfeit. She can move to cut off any challenge to her succession.
Hey, Caraxes. Holy fuck. Jesus, look at the size of it! That is mad! Don't you tell me they've got together as well. So they're in Essos somewhere then.
This brings me to some business. I wish to offer you a permanent residence here in Pentos.
Pentos.
This manse I would gift to you outright, along with its farms, lands. The Triarchy has made common cause with Corem Martell of Dawn. At any moment they may turn their sights north. My aim is to protect Pentos from the lustful eye of the Triarchy. Aid Pentos in this, as Aegon once did.
Daemon
will certainly entertain.
Daemon wants to go with it. Lena, not so much.
We are without responsibility. The political scheming, the endless shifting of loyalties and succession is none of ours.
At my end, I want to die a dragon rider's death. Not that of some fat country lord.
This is the stuff, Lionel. Lads that learn together, train together, knock each other down, pick each other up.
Aegon.
Look at women.
I've won my first bouts to Christian. My opponent sues for mercy.
You'll have a new opponent then, my Lord of the Straw. I have to do better than that.
Yeah, I mean, that teamwork's never going to be great, is it? Just go for the lunges.
Seems the younger boys could do better with a bit of your attention, Sir Kristen.
Dracarys. You spar with Aegon. Engage.
Wow.
I'll deal with him.
Wow. It's like a fight between them both because they're...
Use your feet! Stay on the attack!
Enough! This is what you teach, Cole. Cruelty.
Your interest in the Princeling's training is quite unusual, Commander. You have that kind of devotion toward a cousin.
Oh, that's... yeah.
Or a son.
Oh, Jesus. He almost got the same treatment as friggin' he gave to Joffrey.
Shame on the whole of House Strong, because I laid my hands on that insufferable Cole. The son of a steward. He is a knight of the Kingsguard now.
You have laid us open to accusations of an uglier treachery.
Don't play the fool with me, boy.
I was going to say Lionel must know. God, man. Come on, it's obvious.
To ease the pain, Princess.
Try to play it off as a rumour, but come on.
The wise sailor flees the storm as it gathers.
Wow, he's seeing it coming. he thinks that the rumours are they're gonna become truths.
I was without one until I was 15 years old. And now I ride Vagar.
It was Vagar. I thought it might have been, because fucking hell, the thing was huge and it looked old.
Rhaenyra has delivered another son.
Does your brother mention if this one also bears a marked but entirely coincidental resemblance to the commander of the City Watch?
Instead, you spend your time here, in the library, reading accounts of the same dead dragon lords whose legacy you claim has no hold on you.
Damon's like haunted by what he can't have.
But you are more than the statement.
So he buries himself in books of people who did have what they wanted.
For any offence given by mine, I apologise. My son, Jacaerys, will inherit the Iron Throne after me. I propose we betroth him to your daughter, Helena. Let them rule together.
A most judicious proposition.
If Syrax brings forth another clutch of eggs, your son, Aemon, will have his choice of them. A symbol of our goodwill.
What might this errand be about, Lord Lionel?
I have come to resign my position as Hand of the King. My son, Harwin, has disgraced himself.
He's been expelled from the City Watch. That seems punishment enough.
Has he?
Forgive me, Your Grace, it is not.
You have served me faithfully for many years.
There is a shadow over my house, and it grows ever darker. I can no longer serve you with integrity.
You will continue in your service to the crown.
I would then ask leave to take my son from court and escort him back to the family seat at Harrenhal.
Takes him away from the spotlight and, you know, his children and everything. I just wonder if Viserys has ever had a moment's peace. Like, it's a, you know what I mean? Like, always at odds with somebody.
Then he fell short of confessing my brother's transgressions.
With his eruption in the yard, your brother all but confessed the truth himself. Lord Lionel is to escort Sir Harwin back to Harrenhal to watch over his seat whilst he continues to serve as Hand.
My father cannot give unbiased counsel to the king.
It is now that I most rue the absence of my own father. He wouldn't hesitate to speak the truth to the king if Richard Hightower was still at hand.
So basically that's just what you're missing. You're missing somebody to be on your side kind of thing. Like,
All of King's Landing is in no one to take my side.
A murderer? A deviant? A traitor to the crown? I am prepared to offer you mercy.
What is he doing here?
If you're prepared to pay a little price.
Oh god, they're gonna remove the tongue. Jesus. Oh come on, not another bloody death by childbirth, come on.
I've reached the limit of my art.
Fuck's sake.
Child will not come. I cannot say for a surety whether it lives.
Or the mother survive it.
Jesus, it's huge. Oh my god. This is how she's going out.
Lena!
Bloody hell. Jeez.
I will return. I promise. I will be a stranger when we meet again.
I wonder if the do the children know?
How unstrung my father.
Well, that's the question.
Am I a bastard?
Yes, you are.
We're finished here. We're leaving.
What?
I made a spectacle. They whisper about me in the corridor as well. I leave them to it.
To Dragonstone, then?
I should have left years ago. Bring him. We'll need every sword we can muster.
Freaking create like their own army and Jesus. It's incredible because the keep itself is just ruined, but like the reason why it's so valuable is because of the land, right, that it sits on. Ah, these are prisoners. What are they here for, man? Are they here to assassinate? Surely not. Oh my god, they've set a fucking fire. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
Our children, but a weakness. Through them you imagine you cheat the great darkness of its victory, as if they will keep you from the dust.
How the fuck did they manage this? There was like, what, 3 of them?
For them, you surrender what you should not.
Christ.
Love stays the hand. Love is a downfall.
They're dead.
You've heard the stories of Harrenhal, Your Grace.
It was still...
You passed judgment.
Yeah.
The Queen makes a wish.
The wish wasn't like, I mean...
I assume you will write to your father now?
What, to come back?
I did not wish for this.
God, this guy's nuts. He's insane. Yeah, that was the same flower when he was talking with Alison that one time, right? Okay, episode 6. Fucking hell. Wow, a lot happened in that one. A lot to unpack. So it was 10 years on from the last episode, and it started off like, well, because it was 10 years on, you're kind of sitting there thinking, right, well, what's happened? What is Viserys still alive? Things like that. And I said last episode that the seed was almost planted for shit to really go down. And throughout this episode, I was thinking, no, it actually hasn't. Because you've got the likes of Laenor, who seems to have gotten over the whole Joffrey thing, aside from the fact of naming one of the kids Joffrey. But, you know, he seems fairly like he's gotten over it, for the most part. I mean, 10 years, you would have, right? But, I mean, Kristen's still alive and everything like that. You know, got a hell of a lot of, like, new kids around. New children. To various different, you know, parents. And then, whilst the seed was planted at the end of the last episode, it wasn't until the end of this episode that where, like, it feels like the seeds are being sown now. Like, it's like, now shit is about to get real, because kids that Rhaenyra's been having haven't been with Laenor, they've been with Harwin. Obvious, the seed is strong, that one's been brought back. It's so obvious that everyone around really, truly does deep down know, but it's like no one wants to overstep the mark. The only one that is really pushing it forward is Alicent, and she can because she's the queen, so, you know, she has the power. If anyone dare says it out of turn, that is, you know, in not so privileged a position, that it kind of, you know, you're probably going to get put to death for that kind of, you know, rumorous behaviour and everything like that. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that it, like, the show eventually went this way at some point. The fact that Laenor, like, is gay is sort of like that perfect sort of thing for them to basically mean that, like, you know, Laenor isn't going to provide children because he's gay. So having it be with Harwin, and that was obviously sown in the last episode by the littlest thing of Harwin going in there and saving Rhaenyra, right? Getting her out there. What else? So the children themselves aren't, I mean, most of them seem like, I was going to say bastards, but like that term is used in the insult of the word rather than, you know, the correct term of use. Meaning that, like, you know, and I think it's probably Aegon. The problem is Aegon being, I mean, Aegon doesn't care either way. He's just like a general cunt. You know, he's like the one that seems to be, I don't know, like the puppeteer to the other kids. Like the whole thing with Aemond being bullied in the pink dread and all of that shit. Like, he seems to be the one that, like, put Jace up to it and everything like that. And yeah, it just seems like, I mean, I said during the episode that he's got a lot of Joffrey Baratheon in him. You know, that kind of just crazy, fucking weird, like, dickhead of a kid. You know, but then you've got Alicent, who's obviously their mother, like, trying to put him in a place, like, you know what I mean, like, eventually it's going to come to a head of, like, you know, you're, like, going to be, you know, like, once all of this kicks off, once Viserys is gone, that's where this chaos comes in, and Alicent, bless us, trying to to get it in his head, like you're going to be the next king. You have to be ready for like that kind of stuff, and he doesn't. Like Aegon has the kind of the doesn't give a shit attitude about him, that he's in such a privileged position that he's just kind of like, you know, strutting about, like acting important and everything like that, and he seems to enjoy being powerful over others. I think that was sort of inclined by, you know, like the fact that he enjoyed that whole scene with the, you know, the teaching like in the yard, and you had Kristen versus like Harwin and that whole thing. Like he enjoyed like getting one over on others, you know. But also the fact where he was literally just having a wank out of the window. Like generally like the idea that he's having a wank over people, I think that's the idea, is that he enjoys that sort of power. So I don't see him being a good king, put it that way. Yeah, just absolutely nuts. So Aemond is the second child. Well, he might be the third, because I don't think they distinguish between Helena and Aemond, right? Who was like youngest and whatnot. I mean, Helena as well seems a bit odd as well. Like I mean, you know, anyone that like is fiddling around with like bugs, and in particular like the way she was just talking about bugs while Alicent and Aemond were having that whole talk over there, and she's just going on about the bugs, like it's just a bit creepy, it's a bit weird, you know. So Aemond has this obsession with dragons that's probably born out of the fact that he hasn't got one, right? I'd imagine. But he has that obsession, and yeah, so it wasn't the first time that he's been down there, and I don't know which dragon it was that he saw down there, like whose that is, if it's Aegon's or what, I have no idea. You know, but like even Jace has one, which, interesting enough, when like Alicent comes in and like confronts Viserys about the whole thing, I find it interesting the fact that she basically said she wonders how their eggs even hatched. Like there's some sort of innate, well, because of the connection with the Targaryens and the dragons, that like, you know, if you know the other half that it comes with, so in this case Harwin, like how much that diffuses the Targaryen connection between themselves and the dragon, you know what I mean? It is interesting, and I wonder if the fact is that the seed is strong, if that would have any bearing on it as well. You know, I don't know, but I mean clearly not, because Jace has Vamax. It's either Vamax or Vermax. I didn't have the subtitles up, so I don't know how it's spelled. But he has that. He's kind of gotten. He's getting there, but like, you know, obviously the struggle is real, trying to connect, right? I guess it always would be, but yeah. Viserys, of course, refuses to believe the rumors. Again, like another instance of Viserys, like, and his role as king always seeming to do the wrong thing. So yeah, the relations obviously with the Queen weren't great with Rhaenyra. That's obvious. That was more written at the very start of the episode, when it was quite it wasn't as clear then, but I mean at the end it was obvious that Rhaenyra just had enough, and obviously they're going over to Dragonstone. And I mean that's where it becomes very interesting going forward, because then it's like, right, well, what is Rhaenyra's plan here then? That she's going to well, I mean she's still heir, but I mean what's Viserys going to think about this, you know? I suppose Viserys, because he refuses to believe that they aren't Laenor's kids, and he makes excuses and everything, he's sort of on the side of Rhaenyra anyway. But like, surely, like the idea that she's just buggered off to Dragonstone isn't a great look, you know. So again, it puts pressure on the shoulders of Viserys, and will depend on what happens next episode, because time jumps seem to just, you know, happen fairly frequently, obviously, in this show. So God knows what's going to happen next episode. But I imagine if we see a scene where Viserys is, you know, responding to what's happened, yeah, like, it's just going to be a thing where, again, like, he's just, like, sick of all of this shit, you know. But it is seeding the like, things are there now where it's getting ready for the death of Viserys. I mean, you can see it coming. The fact that sort of Rhaenyra has left for Dragonstone, that like that's completely separate now from like Alicent and her kids. It just feels like it is set up for a kind of a conflict between those two, you know. And what happened at the end there with Larys having his father and brother assassinated, burned alive. Jesus, like, that puts Alicent in a position now where, because this is the thing, like, Larys, see, I knew from the very fucking beginning, the very first time we saw him, where he sat down and he said fucking nothing and he just listened. I knew there was something about him, you know. And he's the one that has that air of fucking, you know, playing the game and everything. But it's very interesting how straight up front and forward he is about the whole thing. Like, he was like, you know, your wish has kind of been granted. You know what I mean? Yes, I did this. You know? Like, directly in front of the Queen. Like, the Queen could literally have him killed. You know what I mean? But I think Larys, this is the point, Larys put himself in this position purposefully. Because he was already working for her. But he came in and he basically just, like, you know, as soon as Alicent mentions, is there nobody, like, on my side? Larys immediately chose that, like, that was the opportunity for Larys to basically put himself in that, into those shoes. So now it's like a case of where the Queen can't have him executed or whatever, right? Because Alicent doesn't have very many allies, and he's basically the only one now, and he's shown that he's capable. You know, he got 3 prisoners, for Christ's sake, to take out Harwin Strong and Hand of the King. Like, dude, that's insane. So yeah, I mean, he's put himself in that thing. I thought it was interesting that he did actually say, you know, it puts in, like, you know, I expect to see, like, what did he say? I can't remember the exact quote, but he said something like, you know, I expect a message to your father or something like that, like, almost like hinting as a possible return, which I hope so, because I do, like I've said before, I love Rhys Ifans, man, and I thought, like, his character was so interesting. I thought he played him so well. I was just intrigued by him, you know what I mean? I like his, like, sort of his tone, his inflection, the way he, like, delivers lines and stuff. So I really do hope he comes back, and it will be cool if he does for so long, you know, and just see him back, you know, in and around the council or whatever. But I think it would be a good idea, because, you know, you need some influence of Old Town there, feeling like what's about to happen. If conflict does happen, you need people who are on your side in and around you, you know. And she doesn't have a lot, so get Otto there, get him in there. I mean, they already planted the seeds in the last episode, in episode 5, with Hobart Hightower, right, where he said, "Old Town's with you all the way," you know. So they're the ones, you know. It's going to be interesting going forward, man. And I think it already sets up a conflict between Aegon and Jace. You know, the fact that they obviously had that fight in sort of like the courtyard is sort of, I feel like, seeding what is going to be happening going forward, because obviously, you know, Jace and whatnot's going to be on her mother's side, and you've got Aegon who's going to be on you know, Alicent's side. So it sets them up right there. God, what else? So much going on, man. Vhagar, fucking hell, man, dude, that's crazy. It's awesome to see it on screen, like the sheer size. Because I mean, even Vhagar, like, I mean, fucking hell, Drogon pales in the size compared to Vhagar. At least I believe so, anyway. Like it just looked like it. Like, I mean, Vhagar looked absolutely massive, and you could see how old that it was as well. Like, you know what I mean? It just like it was like proper faded in color, and it, you know what I mean? It gave that look of being old, you know. And I it's interesting as well with the whole Lena thing. Like, they've had that connection since we first saw her as well. Like when she had that talk with Viserys, right? And like the only thing she wanted to talk about was Vhagar, and she said stuff about it like being lonely, and you can hear the song it sings, you know what I mean, because of the loss of its dragon rider, which I can't remember the name of, like who it was that wrote. I know it was one of the sisters, right? One of the sisters and wives that Aegon married, right? But I can't remember the bloody name. Yeah, I can't remember. But the fact that, you know, that Vhagar was that, like, you know, sad old dragon, you know what I mean? And that all of that come around to Lena, who had such a connection with Vhagar even before they, like, met and everything like that, that it came around that she ended up being Vhagar's dragon rider, and then the fact that, you know, she's given childbirth, and, you know, again, the fact that, you know, they couldn't deliver the baby, and that she essentially committed suicide by Dracarys, like, you know, and Vhagar obviously not wanting to do it. You could hear the Vhagar like start like that, you know, that crying again. That was insane. So I imagine after that, Vhagar probably goes off again on its own. Either that or did I get the name of the girl? I don't think I did. The girl, obviously the daughter that Lena was talking to. That, you know, you've got to claim the dragon as well, right? So, I don't know, maybe. But I just feel like because Vhagar's so old, it's like how much longer has Vhagar got, you know? And you can see there, it's like Daemon at the end, like he was just like he was shocked at like kind of just like what happened, you know. Like obviously he didn't want that, like, you know. But that's the thing, like with Daemon, especially like in this episode, he just seemed a bit like he just didn't. I don't know. He was like almost like away with the fairies a bit, you know. I mean, they were travelers, and then he was just like, no, we'll stay here, But then it's almost like, I don't know, like is he feeling? I don't know if it's a case of like he's feeling pity for himself, like he's feeling sorry for himself because of, you know, like he's like almost like haunted by what he can't have, you know. I mean, the fact that he's reading books about previous dragon riders and conquerors and everything like that in his bloodline that, you know, he doesn't have and he can't have. But then he says stuff like, you know what I mean, I miss the Westerosi wine, and, you know, I just feel like, you know, he doesn't want to stay there, like really deep down, but he's just struggling with his own inability to have what he wants, you know. And who knows, I mean, maybe this conflict allows Daemon to get in and put his own claim out there, but, you know, I wouldn't put it past him. But it's interesting now that, like, you know, Daemon, he's got these two kids. I wonder, because I don't see Daemon as like he seemingly isn't a really good father, is he? Like, he doesn't talk to the children, and now he's on his own. Like, how is he going to act as a father? You know what I mean? And it's interesting. It could be the making of him, but we'll see. Like, if him being essentially forced his hand to be like a father to these kids, it's going to be interesting. The Triarchy are allied, and they're building up their forces again. They're now looking like they're going to be allied with Dawn. Viserys and whatnot has sent out, like, they've had negotiations with them, but it doesn't seem to be like going anywhere. And so that looks like it's going to be heating up again. And of course, we know from the past that, like, Dawn and the Targaryens and whatnot, like, they haven't been They're not in the best of terms anyway, because Dorne's obviously the one that Aegon couldn't conquer. So, yeah, that's interesting. God. And then the rest of the stuff that I wrote down were all stuff that were pertinent to stuff that doesn't exist anymore. Like things like I put down like Lionel wishing to resign and Harwin being removed from the City Watch. It doesn't matter anymore. Like another one, the whole thing with Rhaenyra talking about, you know, we've been at odds recently, so he has a proposal that we can marry one of your boys to, you know, to her daughter. You know, Aemond being offered like one of Cyrex's eggs. Like it's just like those things just aren't a thing anymore now, because Rhaenyra's just been like, you know what, fuck it, it's off the table. We're going to Dragonstone. So none of that doesn't even matter anymore. I mean, Jace asked if Harwin was his father, so that's a thing that I feel like will probably torment him. So we'll see what goes on with Jace going forward, but I imagine that'll probably be something that revolves specifically around his character. And what else? I think that's it. I mean, there's a lot more there. Like Kristen's like hatred, like specifically for Rhaenyra, has almost made him like a very, very salty fellow. You know, like the fact is, it's like it's almost not even just a case of his hatred for Rhaenyra anymore being specifically directed towards her, that it's actually infected his life, and now the way that he like is going about things, it doesn't seem like he's going in the right direction. Like, for example, the way that whole fight in the courtyard thing, where he was essentially on Aegon's side, right? Like the lack of a fair fight and everything like that. And I guess, like, you know, he's right about, you know, in a fair fight and whatnot, oh, there is no fair fight in war, and the whole thing that he was speaking there, that's all fair enough, everything like that, yeah. But it's like this idea that because you're almost giving Aegon that, you know, reason to, that he's pushing Aegon further down that direction, you know what I mean, of being a crazy fucking aggressive fool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just, it's going to make Aegon worse. And I think that's the thing, is the fact that this hatred that has come from Rhaenyra is now just like spread around him, and it's almost because of his influence on the likes of Aegon or possibly other people around him, that it just infects them as well. So that's an interesting way that Kristen's gone. And we'll have to see where that goes going forward. But yeah, absolutely insane. I wrote down Brackens and Blackwoods again, like that small council meeting. I thought that was interesting, yeah, because I forgot to bring up the whole that little kid, the Blackwood dude that killed that one guy that was piping up all the time. The start of episode 4, I believe. Yeah, so apparently the guy who was speaking up was actually a Bracken. I was actually told that, yeah. So, yeah, that one's still a thing that's being, you know, them two are at each other's throats and whatnot. I just thought it was interesting, so I wrote that down. So, yeah. Madness. So, Jaehaerys, I guess, is the younger kid with black hair, right? It's got to be, right? Surely. Because I'm sure Jace is the oldest one. Yeah, it's got to be. I could be wrong, but if I am wrong, then let me know, yeah? But anyway, that is all I've got. And I think Leonor, to be honest, his boredom might be satiated now when conflict finally arises. Because all he wants to do is go out and fight. So, you know, he's been away for too long. So, yeah, it could really, really kick off now. I'm excited, man. So, that is all I've got, so thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked to certain things. One of them is the Discord. You can get offside if you wish, but it's pretty much dead at this point. My Patreon page as well. Of course, access to all of the full-length reactions I do to all the shows I do. There's the early access, of course, which gives you access to shows a week early. And there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to full-length movie reactions and everything, which will be coming back soon. Of course, I've got the My Hero Academia movie to do, World Heroes, and the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie will come up after I finish watching season 1 of that. So yeah, look forward to those. But that is all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.